Hi, you guys. My name is Naomi Rogers, and in my presentation today, I'm going to be going over dengue fever, or the dengue virus, and its presence within French Polynesia over the past couple of hundred years. So, to start off, in order to understand French Polynesia's susceptibility to mosquito-borne illness, it's important to understand where French Polynesia is situated within the Pacific Ocean. So that is going to be within this Polynesian triangle of New Zealand, Easter Island, and Hawaii. And we know French Polynesia as a collective of islands, and this is actually composed of around 118 islands overall in the southern Pacific. It's also incredibly important to understand that French Polynesia is composed of 5 completely separate archipelagos, and this is going to be the Austral Islands, the Gambier Islands, the Marquesas Islands, the Society Islands, and as well as the Tuamotu Islands. And each set of islands completely has their own unique culture, environment, and identity within them. So, just as a recap from class, French Polynesia has an intense tropical climate with incredibly rich and regionally diverse land. Consisting of high islands and atolls, these landscapes on the island range from green and mountainous with steep and rugged volcanoes to very vibrant low-lying coral atolls that can support bountiful amounts of sea life. And these landscapes are entirely vital to the culture, lifestyle, and history of all Pacific Islanders. And just as some context and history before we get into the dengue virus and the modern day well-being of islanders, it's important to know that French Polynesia has been under the rule of France since around the mid-1800s. And in regards to France, their colonization of French Polynesia has done incredible damage to French Polynesians and islanders alike. Their militarization of French Polynesia in the 1960s for nuclear testing caused irreversible damages to islanders' health as well as their mental well-being, causing birth defects, higher rates of cancer due to radiation, as well as mental illness due to a loss of connection with their land. Now getting into the health of islanders, it's a bit easier to understand where dengue might have originated from with that prior knowledge regarding France's impact on the islands and their health. So during colonization, French explorers brought many unknown diseases to the islands, such as syphilis, influenza, and tuberculosis, which all had incredibly long-lasting impact. And along with those diseases came the first mosquito-borne illness, which was recorded in French Polynesia as early as 1852. And these were cases of dengue and Zika. And these viruses have been in circulation ever since. Although we are only discussing the dengue virus today, I thought this image was valuable in presenting all the different types of mosquito-borne illnesses, as there are many that circulate our Earth, not just in the tropics. And the most recognizable ones are probably going to be Zika, dengue, West Nile virus, and yellow fever. So by now, you must be asking, what is dengue fever? Most common in the tropical and subtropical regions of the globe, dengue fever is a viral infection of the blood transmitted through an infected mosquito bite. This image on the left shows how humans and mosquitoes contract dengue fever from each other in a sort of cycle. Learning that over 70 cases were reported in French Polynesia within the first week of 2025 really struck my interest regarding this disease and its prominence within the tropics. With many different variations of dengue, it's hard to pinpoint which symptoms pertain to each. Some could feel no symptoms at all, or the most common symptoms could be high fever, rash, muscle and joint pain, body aches, nausea, migraine, or even diarrhea. And even though there's no antiviral treatment, pain medicine like acetaminophen can be very effective in relieving symptoms. And in severe cases, one should seek hospitalization. Now that we know about dengue's effects and impact within French Polynesia, we can begin to address how to prevent it, control it, and protect islanders from it who are more susceptible than other populations. Although mosquito and insect prevention can seem very strenuous in the long haul, it's actually relatively easy and accessible to create home remedies and use resources at home in order to prevent mosquito-borne illness. Protective clothing and garments is a wonderful way to start. With full coverage hats, mosquito nets, long sleeves, long pants, thick socks, it's super easy to stay protected in nature. Regular body examinations is another great way to start. At the very least, checking your body for mosquito bites is incredibly helpful in protecting yourself and keeping yourself up to date with mosquito-borne illness. Repairing and using window screens is another big factor, and this helps prevent infected mosquitoes from making their way inside your home and inside of your things. Like I said before, mosquito nets are also incredibly helpful, especially in those hotter conditions when you still want coverage if desired, but it's a little too hot to wear a long sleeve or a long shirt. Proper elimination of standing in open water is another really big one, as standing in open water is a breeding ground for new baby mosquitoes. Insect repellent is another thing that can easily be made at home with things like citronella, tea tree, eucalyptus, peppermint. All these essential oils have natural repelling qualities to them. And if traveling or studying abroad or just wanting to get a vaccination, it's entirely valid to inquire about mosquito-borne illness vaccination as further prevention to these diseases. Here are just a couple of images of those methods of prevention that I was talking about. This will be some home remedies of insect repellent, a man wearing a mosquito net, repairing of a window screen, a possible screened-in porch as a method of prevention for mosquitoes, and then mosquito repelling plants, as I said before, citronella, lavender, peppermint, all of those are very good in preventing mosquitoes. Another factor that helps relieve the stress of dengue is the involvement of the World Health Organization, which coordinates in response to international public health issues. As the dengue virus has caught their attention for many years now, they hope to aid those affected by the disease by aiding in outbreak management, providing access to laboratories for research, gathering records on the dengue outbreak and other mosquito-borne illnesses, and spreading overall awareness of the disease and of its impact. So, in summary, it's incredibly important to spread awareness regarding the dengue virus as it furthers the recognition of arthropod-borne illnesses in the medical field, the effects of colonization as well as urbanization on infectious disease, and the well-being of French Polynesians within their islands. It's also important to recognize how insect presence and infectious diseases are going to grow alongside climate change as Pacific Islanders depend on their nature around them for their well-being. These mosquitoes should not win just because our oceans are heating up. And these are my references that I used, some of them for the background, some for the health on the islands, and most of them for the dengue virus in the images provided. Thank you so much.